and welcome to Good Game Spawn Point, the show for younger gamers by gamers. I'm Hex.
And I'm Bajo.
And I am D.A.R.R.E.N.
And we have a brilliant show lined up for you this week. We're going to be checking out Age of Empires Online, and we know that plenty of you have been really excited about this one.
Plus a QB puzzler called Edge.
And this week, our reporter Goose has been in search of the answer to the big question, how does it work? This week, he's going to explain motion capture.
And once we've got through all of that, I'll be announcing the winner of my Spot the Ocarina competition.
Was it hard to make a decision on a winner, D.A.R.R.E.N?
I had to install a new graphics analysis chip, cooling system, and I had to overclock myself just to cope with the demand.
Oh,
Whoa.
sweet upgrades.
Yeah, I thought you were running a bit hot.
Affirmative. Careful.
A while back, a little mobile game called Edge arrived on the scene, which was about a player navigating a cube through a series of tricky levels by swiping their finger across the screen. It then appeared on PS3, and now it's arrived on Steam.
The first thing I noticed was that the PC version plays a little bit differently to the version I remember playing on iPhone Badge. The basic premise is the same, but it's a little trickier and more complex because the use of the arrow keys or WSAD instead of just swiping your finger makes for some more minute adjustments, and it's easier to make mistakes.
The levels get steadily more complex as you progress, with a good learning curve. Initially, you just need to guide your cube through some fairly basic obstacles. However, once you get going, you'll encounter moving platforms, buttons, puzzles, and tunnels.
And this complicates things because Edge is a game about speed, and you're scored kind of like a school paper with A's, B's, and D's.
Get a few D's in your time, did you, Bajo?
Yeah, just a couple.
A few.
Well, I found initially it just took me a while to get used to the movement. It all just felt a bit backward to me. Because of the way the screen is angled, I just couldn't tell which way was forward. You know, pushing up would go that way and then side to side was sort of that way, and I just kept getting turned around and I would go the opposite way to the way that I wanted to go. It got really frustrating.
Yeah, that was definitely part of the challenge, especially combined with the speed element. Platforms will fall away from you, or some levels involve blocks zipping around a track like a high-speed highway you have to somehow cross without getting swept away.
The levels start to become really creative, which I loved, and it's all set to this really funky electronic soundtrack, and I couldn't help tapping my foot to it. One of my favourite levels was called Hi-Fi because it had these coloured moving blocks that kind of mimicked the look of an equaliser in a hi-fi system, and there's so many great design moments like that all the way through the game.
As things started to get more challenging, the game will offer you a little question mark square to give you a hint of how to get through certain sections, and it'd play out the answer with a little ghost AI cube performing the correct move.
Yes, but D.A.R.R.E.N, sometimes the puzzling was so tricky, not even the AI could do it. I give that AI a D.
Well, all in all, I liked this game. It has that really addictive quality, and the speed element just makes everything all the more stressful, but it's challenging in all the right ways. I did get mostly B's, I'm afraid, but it did make me want to go back and replay those levels to try and get a better score. I'm giving it 7 out of 10 rubber chickens.
There were elements of Edge that reminded me of that game Echochrome, which we reviewed a while back, but this was way more fun, and that soundtrack is just excellent. It's still the sort of game I'd rather play on the move, but even so, I'm giving it 7 out of 10 rubber chickens. Bajo here at the Good Game Spawn Point News Desk. Robert Blythe, a consumer analyst from Macquarie Bank, has predicted that video games will become much cheaper in the coming months. Based on the continuing strength of the Australian dollar, Blythe believes that by the end of the year, or early 2012, recommended prices for most games will fall from $120 to $70. Thank you. Oh, what a pretty picture. The Ukrainian esport team Navi have won $1 million in a tournament for Defense of the Ancients too. They beat Chinese team eHome 3-1. While $1 million is an unusually large amount of prize money for an esport event, what is more unusual is that no one had ever played Defense of the Ancients 2 before, as it was the first time the game had ever been publicly played. Delicious. Free Play, a 5-day independent game developer festival held in Melbourne, has announced its annual game prizes. The title for Best Australian Title went to Alexander Bruce's Antichamber. Facepalm's The Swapper took out the Best International Game Award. Aussie developer Jay Watts also picked up Best Design and Best Audio awards for his title Solar 2. Nothing else? That's That's it. No more news.
Spawnlings, let's time warp to one of the greatest moments in gaming history! Here we go, through the time rift! So many colours, so many beautiful colours. We're heading all the way back to the last week of August in 1976. We now find ourselves in the United States of America, where the Fairchild Channel F has just been released. While it's not a household name today, the Channel F has the unique distinction of being the first ever video game console to accept a games cartridge. This was a huge leap forward, for at the time, other consoles only had built-in games, which couldn't be changed. The Channel F allowed gamers to play up to 26 different titles, including Alien Invasion and Sonar Search. This revolutionized the industry, and other games companies, such as Atari, soon followed with their own cartridge game systems. The last TV-based console to use cartridges was the Nintendo 64. Well, I'd better teleport back before I run into 70s Darren. His taste in music is awful. Oh!
All right, enough dilly-dallying, Bajo. Let's start off with this one from Sam in Swansea, New South Wales.
Don't like it. Please answer this. You guys are awesome, but you never answer my questions. But anyway, back to my question. I got From Dust, but I can't get past the Tsunami Level. Please help. Thanks. You guys are awesome. P.S. doesn't include Darren. Well, there's a few Tsunami levels, Sam, but we're guessing you mean the rather tricky level High Tides.
Yeah, that one is quite tough, but here's how we did it. First things first, tell your tribespeople to secure this totem and the Repel Waterstone over here.
Then we'd highly suggest you move your original totem up here, so that your villagers don't have so far to travel.
Now, you may want to just wait a bit here and make sure that your villager brings back the Repel Water knowledge to your first village. Once he has, then send out your villagers to this totem. And hopefully once your village is built, your villager will be able to get the Repel Water down to them before the next high tide hits.
Now, again, just wait for the high tide to fall back down and then send your villagers out to the last totem. You'll probably want to combine Amplify Breath and Engulf to suck up as much water as you can, so your villagers can get there easily. Once the way is clear, then activate Gellify Water, and that will give your villagers the time they need to populate the totem and get Repel Water to them.
You may also need to use the infinite earth power you get from that totem to build up a few walls and buy yourself a few extra seconds. And don't forget you can use Amplify Breath at the same time to place a lot more earth.
And now all your villagers are safe, and all that's left to do is build up those walls, spread some earth around to get 100% vegetation, and then build up a little island and bridge to the exit, level complete.
Good luck with it, Sam. But let's move on to this one from Sonic and Mario fan in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Hi, Good Game Spawn Point. I love your show and watch it whenever I've got a spare half an hour. I just wanted to ask two questions. Number one, is Minecraft a free game to download on the internet? Number two, do you ever get annoyed by how people misspell words and they sound weird? You're awesome, Sonic and Mario fan. P.S. Bajo and Hex are equally epic and Darren is a mega fail noob. He certainly is. Well, if you want the full version of Minecraft, then no, it isn't free. You will have to pay. But you can actually play Minecraft Classic for free on their website. It's missing most of the features from the full game. You can't mine or craft. They should have just called it. All you can do is place and remove blocks, but it's great if you just want to test it out or just enjoy building things. And
no, we don't mind if you spawnlings misspelling, as long as we can still understand what you mean to write. Well, let's move on to this one from Teeny Bit Noobish in Noobtropolis, Queensland. Hey guys, I recently begged my mum to get me a Wii and I have one, but she got some seriously bad games. OMG, I need serious help. I need a game that's super fun but can be played with 4 players. I've been looking and Carnival looks okay. What do you guys think? Thanks. P.S. Hex is just pure awesomeness. And Bajo, you're just jealous. Hope you're right back. Yes, there's nothing worse than getting a brand new console and only having terrible games to play. But if by Carnival you mean Carnival games, then seriously, just no, it's not okay. We wouldn't touch that if it was the last game left on the planet.
Oh, well, I would.
Really?
Yeah, if it was that or no game at all, then I'd play it.
Okay, well, we would only touch it if it was the last game left on the planet then.
But there are some great 4-player Wii games. We definitely suggest New Super Mario Bros. Wii. It's your classic Super Mario style game, except with 4-player co-op.
Super Smash Bros. Brawl has some great hectic multiplayer too, and has tons of classic characters to choose from. And of course, Mario Kart Wii has some fantastic multiplayer racing shenanigans.
You might also like to check out something like Rock Band or Guitar Hero. They can be pretty expensive because you need to get all of the instruments, but they are great fun to play together.
Well, let's move on to this one now from Mad Boy in Minas Tirith, Victoria.
Sounds mysterious.
It's Lord of the Rings.
Let's go to Minas Tirith. Oh, it is mysterious.
Yeah. Such a noob. Are there any good RTSs out there apart from the Age of Empires series, Age of Mythology, Rise of Nations, and Settlers? Please, please, please answer.
I totally knew it was Lord of the Rings. I was just testing you. Absolutely, there are tons of great RTS games out there. One of our favorites is the epic Total War Shogun 2. It's kind of like 2 games, really, with a turn-based strategy game mixed in with huge real-time battles. Also, that might get you into turn-based strategy, and if it does, you should try Civilization 5. Ah, wonderful game.
There are some older games that are still worth a play. Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos is amazing, and Homeworld still stands up as one of the most unique RTS games thanks to its story and 3D range of movement.
Sins of a Solar Empire is worth a play, plus there are some brilliant games which are unfortunately rated M. StarCraft 2 would be our pick of those ones.
Alright, well let's move on to this one from Xbox 360 Rules in Sydney, New South Wales.
I wonder if he likes the Xbox 360.
No.
What does the GS do which you earn on your Xbox 360 console from achievements? PS, Hex rules. PPS, D.A.R.R.E.N is a noob. PPPS, Bajo is the best. Well, to answer your question, it does nothing.
Yeah, gamer score points are completely, well, useless. All they really do is give you a rough idea of how many games you've played and how much you've played them. On the Xbox 360 at least.
But they are fun to get, and sometimes they'll encourage you to do certain things in a game that you wouldn't do otherwise. It's pretty satisfying when you hear that little sound and see a Chivo pop up.
Yes, but let's move on to this one now from Zach in Bowral, New South Wales.
Plus it's gaming, gaming bragging rights.
Yeah, but we review so many games on Debug, so I don't get any of those gamer points. It sucks.
What's your gamer score? Is it 6?
Yeah,
is it 6?
It's not 6.
You know what mine is?
What?
It doesn't even fit on the screen. It goes right off the edge.
Yeah, right.
It's got an A in it.
Yeah, right. Can you review Project Gotham Racing 4 for the Xbox 360? I've asked this question approximately 134 times already. Please answer or I'll become a noob.
Well, we don't really have time at the Ask Good Game desk to do proper reviews of games, but we can talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great racer. It's not very realistic compared to something like Gran Turismo or Forza, but it is good fun. There's lots of real-world cars to choose from and painstakingly accurate recreations of cities to race around.
Also, it still has some of the best weather effects of any racer out there. You really have to watch out for those puddles on a rainy day.
And it's one of the few races to have motorbikes and cars racing against each other and do it well. All in all, we'd highly recommend it. But let's move on to this one now from Hannah in Braidwood, New South Wales. Hey, good game. Can you tell me the fastest time to complete a game like Legend of Zelda? I've been playing Zelda since I was a kid, and I reckon I could beat the standing fastest time.
Ah, yes, you speak of the ancient art of the speedrun. There's actually communities out there dedicating themselves to completing games as fast as possible and setting the top times.
If you want to beat the fastest time for The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, then you'll need to finish it in under 4 hours and 46 minutes to beat the current record holder. That is ridiculously fast.
I know, right? One of the people who worked on the game and knew the game inside and out could only finish it in around 8 hours. But give it a go, Hannah. Good luck and let us know how you go.
Alright, well I think we're flat out of time for this week, but you know what to do with those questions, spawners. Send them in here. I spent a lot of effort making that tea for you and you just spat it out.
No, it was okay. I'm just allergic to liquid. Say, Darren, check out this amazing replica of you that one of the Spawlings have sent in.
Yeah, look how detailed it is, and it even has a shield and a sword. Look, I love swords.
It's just like you, Darren, only much more exciting.
Well, he looks amazing, but does it work?
No, I guess not.
Speaking of does it work, Darren, how does a Kinect work? Can you tell me?
Well, through a complicated algorithm of IR responsive beams and facial recognition.
Actually, Darren, how about we let Goose explain this one?
Oh, very well. My word.
It's small, easy to use, and a lot of fun. And it uses something called motion sensing, which is changing the way we play a lot of games today. But what exactly is in these motion devices? And how does it take what I'm doing here and put it on the screen? To find out more, I'm off to the game studio at the University of Technology in Sydney to meet Dr. Chek Tien Tan, and he's going to explain to me how it all works. So, Dr. Chek, thanks so much for having us.
No worries.
So, we're here to learn about the Kinect. Can you tell me, how does it actually work?
Okay, it has 3 cameras over here. So the first camera is actually an IR projector, which projects a grid of IR points onto the objects in front of it. And then this camera captures all of those points and tries to make out the depth of each of the points so that it has a 3D picture of the scene in front of it. And this third camera over here is actually a normal VGA camera, which allows for facial recognition.
So when you're using the Kinect, one lens projects a grid of infrared rays into the room, which measures depth and movement. Another lens then captures all that information and feeds it back into the console, basically using a lot of complicated maths. So, Dr. Chek, what are we seeing up here on the screen?
So on the top left, we have this depth stream, which is capturing all the information from the IR camera. So what is in here is actually the depth information, that means the distance from all the objects to the camera. So it can detect all the humans, me and you as well. So once it does that, taking this shape, it translates this shape into the skeleton structure that we see. So the skeletons contain joints, which we can easily track the gestures. We can actually know what kinds of motion exactly the human is making. So once you have this system all set up, you can actually link your actual gestures that you're making and then link to your game code.
And that's how we play the games?
Yes, that's right.
Great.
Okay, Gus, I've actually got a pretty cool way for you to actually see how the Kinect works. So if you are willing to put on this night vision goggles.
Wow, so I can actually see all the infrared dots.
All the dots that you see are actually the infrared rays that are coming up from the projector. And these dots are actually invisible to the human eye. That's why you need night vision goggles to allow you to be able to see them.
Well, it all looks pretty amazing. Thanks so much for having us.
It's my pleasure.
Thanks for showing us how it works.
No worries.
I'll see you later.
See ya.
I went the wrong way.
Oh, I see. Bye.
Darren, before we launch into the Age of Empires online review, could you please give the viewers a brief history of the Age franchise?
The first Age of Empires game was released for PC in 1997. Altogether, there have been 10 titles associated with the series. All the games are history-based real-time strategy games. They are celebrated for their challenging and balanced gameplay and interesting historical settings. Does that suffice?
Perfect. I'm sure many spawnlings would be familiar with the old games, real-time strategy at its best. But Age of Empires Online offers something new: role-playing. So it's a massively multiplayer online real-time strategy role-playing game.
An MMO RTS RPG.
And it's free to play. Well, most of it is. You will also need to download the Games for Windows software, which can be a bit tricky to get working. So all in all, it took me maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, and then I was into the game.
You can choose to play as either the Greeks or the Egyptians. You name your starting city, and from there you'll be sent on quests to gain experience points to level up your civilization. You'll also earn coins, which can be spent on equipment, and empire points, which can be spent on unlocking new crafting recipes for use in your capital city. Now, I have the premium paid version of the game, but you played the free stuff, didn't you, Bajo? How was that?
Good. You certainly get enough out of the game to get the full experience. And also, it doesn't keep popping up with menus asking you for money all the time. Well, not much. Pretty quickly, I received quest rewards I couldn't use, though, and some blueprints for buildings I couldn't actually build, but you can sell them. Overall, though, I didn't feel overly disadvantaged. This is one of the most fleshed out free-to-play games I've ever played.
Around the maps, there are little chests to collect, but you'll have to defeat their chest defenders to take them. It's best to leave that until you've completed the mission in single player, so you don't have to worry about losing units. Each time you finish a Quest Complete banner will appear and a sound will play.
Yeah, Yes, that sound gives you a feeling of accomplishment, and it makes you want to keep on playing, and that's a common technique used in games.
The role-playing side of things happens in your starting city, where you can construct buildings, buy and sell gear and materials, spend experience points, and talk to various quest givers. You then use your world map to travel to the quest locations where the real-time strategy gaming happens. How did you find the RTS side of things?
Oh, it's great. It just feels like an Age of Empires game. The key to success is to build a thriving economy so you can build up your army and then level through the ages.
The quest will send you out on missions like saving some hostages, mining for a certain resource in a certain time, obliterating an enemy. I like them. I thought those early quests did a really good job of teaching you the fundamentals of good RTS play.
I thought they were a tad noobish, especially early on.
Well, you should have toggled on Elite mode. It makes things tricky and it's available on every quest.
True, Darren. RTS staples like waypoints, hotkeys, and the ability to group units and even buildings are in the game, which makes me hopeful that there are going to be some really challenging strategic battles ahead. You can do some quests co-op with a friend, and you can also play player versus player on random maps, which is just like old Age of Empires. And this is where core RTS gamers will have the most fun. The gear you've collected and the technology tree unlocks you've chosen carry across to PvP, so there's going to be interesting times ahead as players develop the best strategies and build orders. What did you think of the role-playing side of things, Hex?
Well, I was a little bit disappointed with this, to be honest. I mean, I love a good RPG, and I thought it was interesting to include those elements, but I don't know, it all just seemed a bit confusing.
Well, it's to make it so that every gamer can develop their own way of playing.
Yeah, but it's a bit needlessly complicated, isn't it? For example, you have to buy a blueprint for a school so that you can then buy blueprints for equipment that you're not sure you really need anyway. And you can only have 2 of them. And then you have advisors, but you can only have 1 of them per age. Ugh.
I do know what you mean. There's a lot of gear in this game. Every unit and building has multiple equipment slots, but only paying players will be able to use the rare and epic gear.
You know, I'm perfectly willing to accept that I may not have a grasp of the full potential of the trading and crafting side of things, and as we know from other MMOs, it can sustain the life of the online game.
You need to put in more hours, Hex.
Yeah, true that. I'm only level 13, so there's plenty more game to discover.
Well, what's your feeling so far?
I'm impressed. You know, it really reminded me of that cartoon Asterisk. I think it was also a comic, and the character animations are just great.
What is that?
That's my impression of a villager. That's how they run.
Oh, it's very good, Bajo.
Coincidentally, it's also how I run.
Right. Okay, well, I think if you like RTS or have never played RTS and think you might want to give it a go, then this is definitely worth a download. I do think the RPG side of things could have been helped by having a physical representation of your character to run around your city with, rather than just being a disembodied cursor. But there is a lot of game for play, so I'm definitely going back for more. I'm giving it 8.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I forgot how much fun it was commandeering cows and using them as scouts. I think they've done a good job of making an Age of Empires game whilst bringing in something new. The real test is going to be is if over time it has that level of complexity and strategy, and most importantly balance that core RTS gamers want and need and thrive on. So only time will tell. I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10 rubber chickens as well.
Could you do that run again?
No. You made fun of me.
You should do that at all.
No, it's really good. I want to... Oh, we've hurt his feelings.
Darren, are you okay?
No, affirmative. I'm just taking a final look at the entries to the Ocarina comp to make absolutely sure my decision is correct.
Look, I know it's tough, Darren, but really, anytime you're ready. Oh. The winner is Grant from Mackay in Queensland. That's a fantastic drawing of you dressed as Link in this Hyrule field, and he's guessed all the Ocarina correctly. Congratulations, Grant. We'll be sending this precious signed copy of Ocarina of Time out to you quick smart.
Oh, Darren, what's all these?
The runners-up.
Have you got prizes for all these spawnlings too?
They'll each receive a D.A.R.R.E.N badge.
We'll throw in a few stickers as well.
What?
Well, just to keep them protected in the mail, Darren. We'd hate for one of your badges to get, you know, dented or something.
Oh, fair enough.
Well, next week, in anticipation for the Rugby World Cup, we'll be kicking around the game of the same name.
Makes the move. It's a try that
We'll also meet one of the legends of Australian game development to find out how he got where he is today. Till then, may all your games be good ones. Hex out.
Bajo out.
Darren out.
All right, I'm out of here. Whoa!
Thought I'd allow you to get acquainted. There you go. Best friends. Hey.
Hello.
Are you talking to me?
Hello, Darren.
Are you talking to me?
I'm little Darren.
I don't see any other robots here, so you must be talking to me.
Can I stay?
This den of gaming isn't big enough for 2 robots. I challenge you to a laser duel!
Very well. I shall match you with my laser.
On guard! Charging my laser!
Oh, that tickles.
Well, that was quite good. Maybe you could replace Bajo.